In this video, we'll be unboxing and reviewing the brand new Godox AD200Pro. Thanks for watching, guys. Subscribe to us for more photo and video equipment reviews just like this. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Hypop and use hashtag HypopFeatures, or visit our website hypop.com.au. Let's get into it. So I've got the AD200Pro box with me here today. You can see the box actually looks quite similar to the previous model. There's not too many differences besides the photo, I guess, on the front there and on the back of the actual flash itself. Let's give this a quick unboxing and see what's inside. Okay, so a couple of things here first. We've got the Godox warranty card and the AD200Pro manual, the instruction manual. And we've got the carry case. So the carry case here looks identical to the previous AD200. Let's open this up. And a lot of the accessories and even the positions of the accessories are the same. So I've got here a tilt bracket, so that's your light stand tilt bracket. I've got the bare bulb flash head here. We've got the bulb itself. We've got the power cable and the charger, the battery, and the new AD200Pro. So the case is identical. It's still got that zipper component. All the cutouts are about the same. It just looks like mostly the flash head itself and the tilt bracket's different. So I've got the AD200Pro here with me. You can see it's actually quite similar to the previous model. In fact, almost identical. I've got the previous model there, and you can see side by side, they almost look identical besides some of the branding, as well as very minor physical changes to the flash itself. Now, in terms of similarities between the two, it's still all the features that you know and love from the previous model. So it's got the 200 watt output, it's got the bare bulb head, as well as the Fresnel head that's included. A lot of the accessories are the same. It's also backwards compatible with all the accessories. So if you're looking at accessories from the AD200 range, such as the BD07 bundle kit, you've got the LED head, all the reflectors and beauty dishes and umbrella softboxes, all still compatible with the AD200Pro, as well as the X wireless system. So it's backwards compatible with the X wireless system, the X1 triggers, the X Pro triggers, and the soon to be released X2 triggers, but it'll be compatible with that. So a lot of the similarities that you know from the previous model, the AD200Pro has. Now, in terms of the differences, the physical differences, firstly, you'll see would be on the back of the flash. So on the back of the flash, the LCD display has been recessed into the back, allowing for, let's say, about the 2mm bumper on the back here. The reason for that was because the AD200 was prone to being dropped and landing on the actual LCD screen itself. So that would cause it to crack the screen, and then the display would be gone and you wouldn't be able to really use the flash correctly. If you can't see the display, you'd have to use it through your trigger instead. So they've changed that design. However, it's still very minor. It adds a little bit of length there. So there's a few, there's probably 0.5 centimeter in terms of additional length physically to the previous model. But it's not, I feel it's actually not that great in terms of protection. I'm sure that some other third-party manufacturers will release some sort of bumper, perhaps a silicone bumper. I know that was previously released, with aftermarket for the AD200Pro. So that should help that in terms of safety and security when it's on your stand and say a big gust of wind comes across and drops and it lands on the LCD screen. So hopefully that protects it. Now, in terms of other physical changes, we've got the different mounting points here. So the 1/4 inch thread mounting points are still on the side and on the bottom. What you'll notice is there's 2 notches on either end there. And those 2 notches line up to the new accessory here. So this is the new tilt bracket accessory. There's 2 notches there also to match up. And it's got a little screw mechanism here that mounts the 1/4 inch thread. And that way it actually securely locks the AD200Pro into the bracket itself. So the previous bracket didn't lock, it only locked through the 1/4 inch thread there. So when you mount it on your stand and perhaps you place some sort of lighting modifier, say you're using the S bracket and there's a bit of weight added to that, on top of the bracket, it tends to sort of, you know, put a lot of strain on that mounting point there. And we have had cases where we've had the mounting point damage, or perhaps even just completely, you know, break from the casing itself. So those additional notches there actually add a little bit of additional reinforcement when mounting with the new tilt bracket. Now, some other physical changes are the on-off button. So the on-off button has changed, which you can see there. The on-off button is still in the same position. However, there's no longer the port there, which is the old with Strobe port, or the USB mini port that no longer exists on the AD200 Pro. And on the other side, we've got you know, the ports for the old receivers, the old Godox legacy receivers, and also the sync port there, and you've got the latch buttons there that unlock the battery, and also the heads there. So those still remain the same. However, what you'll notice on the AD200 Pro, it doesn't have any more sort of notices there that tells you that that's the battery push button, that's the unlock button. They've just removed that completely. I guess that's just for a cleaner design. But yeah, that's the main changes there. All the other locations for the, you know, the IR port there, and you've got, you know, the different branding parts, they're all the same. On the back panel here, a lot of the button positioning is the same. It's just repositioned. You know, the flash button's down at the bottom now, and you've got, you know, the bulb button, so that's your modeling light button. You've got your menu button, your wireless button, the set and the spin wheel here, and the mode, as well as the group channel button. So here in Australia, the AD200 is priced at about 450 Australian dollars. And the AD200 Pro is roughly at about RRP $550. So you've got a $100 price difference there. Now, what's the reason for this pricing difference? I guess some of the major features that they've added to the AD200 Pro include the color stability mode. So there's a new color stability mode, which allows you to be enabled through the menu setting there, and that gives you a variance of plus or minus 100 Kelvin. So your range of color variance is a lot less than the previous model. So the previous model was plus or minus 200. That's similar to previous models of the Godox with Strobe system. So the AD600 Pro, for example, was an upgrade from the AD600B. And from there, it had a plus or minus 50 Kelvin color stability mode. And the AD400 Pro also has that similar color stability mode. So they've added that new feature onto the AD200 Pro, thus calling it the Pro model. But you can see that it's got the plus or minus 100 Kelvin. So the actual variance is still quite large compared to the 600 and the 400 Pro. Now, on top of that, they've got a new feature, which are the increments of stops that you have now in terms of your lighting output. So we'll just pop that on really quickly. You can now increase and decrease the stops by 0.1 rather than previously you had it on 0.3 or so stops, or a third stop with previous models. So they've given you a bit more fine tuning there in terms of controlling your lighting output. And besides that, it's more of the physical features. So that bumper, the physical features to the actual flash itself would be the primary differences to justify that additional cost. Now, some people that have the AD200 previous model would probably not justify an upgrade to the AD200 Pro to spend that additional $100 unless you are in sort of an industry or your photos require that real color accuracy that the color stability mode provides. But besides that, if you're after, you know, your first model of the AD200, I think the AD200 Pro would probably be justified in terms of going for an upgrade and spending that little bit extra just for that additional tilt bracket. You know, the few new design features, the physical design features in terms of reinforcements and safety in terms of the recessed LCD screen. And then also, of course, you get the color stability mode and the you know, additional control for your output there as well. Now, lastly, another important feature that was upgraded on the AD200 Pro was the recycle time. So the recycle time on the previous model at full output was 2.1 seconds. Whereas on the new model, the AD200 Pro, it's 1.8 seconds. So there's 0.3 of a recycle time improvement there. So that's great for people who shoot weddings and events because every millisecond counts in terms of getting the shot and making sure your flash keeps up with your shots. So let's jump into the menu and have a look at the differences between the two. So now going through some of the menu options and buttons on the back screen here of the AD200 Pro. Firstly, if you wanted to do a firmware update, there is a USB-C port underneath towards the rear of the flash here. The on-off button Let's quickly turn that on. Now, some of these buttons here, we've got the mode button, which allows you to cycle through the different modes for the flash. So through TTL, manual, or multi. You've got the group channel button, so it's a 2-function button. So single press allows you to cycle through the different groups. And the press and hold allows you to highlight the channel. And you can see that once it starts flashing, and you use the spin wheel here to cycle through the different channels required for your wireless triggering. You've got your spin wheel obviously, and you've got your set button which locks in any of your settings. So you've got the wireless button here as well, which allows you to turn your wireless settings on or off. So if you're using a sync cable, you can switch that off if required. And you've got your test button here. So that allows you to test fire your flash. You've got your modeling lamp button there, and you've also got the menu button. So the menu button here is the most important part, which allows you to cycle through all the different custom functions that the flash has. So the first option here, which is F1, allows you to turn the Audible Beep on or off. So if you have it on, when you fire the flash, it'll have that beep, which is great for, say, if you have a model as your subject. That's great to use as an indicator for he or her to change their poses. Now F2 here allows you to cycle through the different slave groups. So if you wanted to have it off or go through slave 1 or 2, if you're using groups of flashes. Now F3 is the auto timeout delay. So that basically turns your flash off if it's inactive or not in use. You have 30 minutes, 60 minutes, and 90 minutes, as well as off, if you don't want that option at all. So F4 here is your second curtain and rear curtain sync, so that it allows you to select the delay in fractions of a second there. So you can turn that off or have that on if you're using rear curtain sync. F5 is for your masking function. So now masking function is similar to other Godox flashes that also have this feature. It allows you to set them to different groups of flashes to fire off first or second. It's perfect for e-commerce, so perfect for stationary objects, and allows you to use that during post-production. Now F6, which is the flash duration display. So if you have that on off, when you go back into your mode, you can see there's no flash duration. There's a bit of a gap there underneath, because what happens is when you turn that on, you can see your flash duration is now displayed at the bottom there next to your output, and that changes as you change the output level of the flash. Turn that off. Now F7 is your wireless group. So if you or others are using Godox flashes in the same proximity, you can actually set the wireless ID of your flash. That goes anywhere between 99 and 1. So basically it reduces interference if there's multiple Godox shooters around. And F8 is your color stability mode. So you've got on or off there, so that's the color stability mode that allows you to enable that to have a smaller variance in terms of color stability from shot to shot, which is that plus or minus 100 Kelvin with the AD200 Pro. That was a quick look at the brand new Godox AD200 Pro. For more videos just like this, follow us on Facebook and Instagram, subscribe to our channel by hitting the button below, and visit our website, hypop.com.au. Thanks for watching.